In the bottom left-hand side, it is going to be our red Zerg. This is Solar. Taking on the blue Terran in the top right-hand side. Cure. Guys, I get the very sad feeling that these guys hosted without the game hard mod, so apologies for that in advance. Sometimes these players, they do that. They think they're being helpful hosting these lobbies. I was a second away from hosting it myself. And they just did it before me. They just had to jump in there, you know? Was just what these guys do sometimes. As we get this up and running, just having the setup at the moment. The Overlord out the front here and seeing what's going on. Hey, what's up, Empt Mine Dead? Thank you so much for subscribing. Appreciate the support. Supporting the tournaments as you do it as well. Thank you so much. And hey, what's up, Dr. Cash? You're welcome to the stream today as our Hatchcast pool gets going here in the early stages. Why did Cure leave Jin Air Green Wings? Isn't that the most powerful team in the StarCraft world? Probably because Dragon Phoenix came and paid him more. I mean, Dragon Phoenix Gaming, like, Jin Air were, like, yes, probably the best Korean team, and probably still are the best Korean team. But there's this thing now called the Chinese teams. And these Chinese teams, they have money. They have money, and DPG, Dragon Phoenix Gaming, is owned by some Chinese billionaires who are actually cousins of the SC Boycaster Zhao She. And they support a lot of the StarCraft tournaments in the past. They decided it'd be fun to own a team. That's why they picked up Dark, Cure, Parting, and arguably now are the... I mean, I feel like Dragon Phoenix Gaming versus Jin Air is like the strongest, you know, the best versus the best, right? And I think you could... Honestly, on any given day, I feel like that much it would go either way. But yeah, pretty sure Cure got offered a lot more than what he was getting from Jin Air. Especially considering on Jin Air, he was like probably considered, you know... top 4 player, right? Behind Rogue, SOS, and Maru or something. Or probably even Trap. Might have even been considered top 5. I mean, SOS maybe not so much right now, but overall. On DPG, I imagine he's getting paid pretty similar to what Dark is getting paid. As you do see, this Reaper just backing away over the right side. 2 CCs from Cure in the main base already building into a 3 CC opening. So Cure ready to let this go along, ready to let this go on for a little while. No surprises there. As Reaper comes back around onto the watchtower. And the Overlord of Solar will just stick around over on the left side. Marine on a bit of a patrol. Command center about halfway done, and the starport about halfway along as well. So all of that continuing as a couple creep teamers still pushing out onto the map. And we are just waiting to see the first bit of a proper aggression here. I guess Hellions will come around and poke around a little bit. That will be the first part of Cure's build here, and then of course typically into that bio play and in towards that first kind of 2 medevac drop. He's going to go for a Liberator actually, so really delaying the bio opening by quite a bit, which isn't the end of the world. It does just mean you're hoping to get a bit more done now and a little bit less done later. So yeah, probably, I mean, this is going to be 4 Hellions now. I'd imagine you could even go up to like 8 Hellions here with the Liberator. Really pile on the pressure and really hope to, again, get some damage done in the early stages rather than in some of the later stages here. As this Overlord is going to come through. Orbital is there and it is seen right away. And now Cure will start up that stim pack, so he's at least going to go to 6 Hellions. That's very standard. Again, 8 Hellions would be a little bit more aggressive. Now that the stims start, he might just go 6 and then lift because it's a good time to start up the 2 barracks. The starport is finished as well, so it can actually just move over to the side or start a reactor or so. And everything kind of comes up and lines up. So it is just going to be the 6 Hellions. And the Liberator coming around. So Liberator looking to be in the natural. But look at Solar. Already has a Spore Crawler position to deal with the Liberator here. I think it's very common to go... Well, he actually got all the way in. And he did see the Tech Lab. I actually think he must have seen this as well, right? Being like a non-produced unit already. I think just off this build, I think the timing, etc. I think Solar just knows, okay, well... I guess he got his Overlord tonight here and he got up the ramp with the link. So maybe he didn't see what was on the starport, but I think he's obviously just very confident that it's more likely a Liberator than a Cloak Banshee is what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to reason it out as to how he maybe figured that out. It's just the way that the build looks based on the scout and information that he got. It's unlikely. You know, 3CC Cloak Banshee isn't unheard of, but then would Stim be started already? Probably not. So yeah, it's a little bit of figuring out that you can do. It might even just be the position of the starport, right? Because if a starport was building a Cloak Banshee, usually the tech lab, the barracks builds the tech lab. So the barracks would have built a tech lab here and moved away, and the starport would have swapped. So there's a lot of like little things that you can pick up on building placement, etc., and where the structures are. That could absolutely make a difference. As Hellions and the Reaper come in, they pick off one creep tumor already. So first creep tumor already goes down. And just seeing the 1-1 upgrades coming up. Stimpack building as well, as we mentioned before. That's just now finished, so you can go into combat shields. He's already got the first 2 medevacs to take onto, you know, to get onto the map and to go from there. Cleaning out some of this group spread out the front. Just getting these Hellions active and even using quite a few scans to clean out some of this creep. So really very active in getting rid of this, as we do see the Lings wanting to come forwards there, but just not quite making it. A few more creep tumors will go down. On upgrades, combat shields, all of this continuing to build as the Marines and the tank join up in the main. The few Hellions still in the center. Coming all the way around this bottom side now, as a few Marines will just begin to unload, so getting a few of these out of the Medevac and Lingbane Queen Army. On the south side at the moment as well, pulling this back over to the left. Waiting for these Marines and Hellions just to keep on clearing creep, because that's where we're at right now. We're about to hit 1-1 in combat shield, so these couple of tanks could come across the map if he wants to put on some more pressure. What's going to be very fun is the fact that this base is coming up on the left-hand side. Solo doesn't have a lot of creep spread in front of this base anyways. And that means that you really could push from this third into that fourth very easily. As this Liberator does finally go down, gets one more drone, and is just looking to try and keep Solo as busy as possible. Yeah, I mean, honestly, with the base being on the left side, I wouldn't mind that push on that direction in general. Kyo doesn't see it yet, but I think he must know, right? I mean, at this stage of the game, if you don't have a fourth base, what are you actually doing as the Zerg? Well, not having a, you know, you're probably going to lose the game if you don't have a fourth base around now, so it's definitely, you know, Kyo figuring this out. He doesn't actually have his armor yet to morph in Hellbats, and he actually takes a hit on the Hellions with the Banes. So loses some of that splash damage he would have loved to keep up to help deal with the Zerglings. First Mutalisk coming in just as this fight gets going, and this base on the left side. Well, he's going to have to move in very soon if he wants to defend this. And he'll move in now, but already low HP. Okay, backs away. Maybe he wants to wait for the Mutalisk to really add to this, but I think that might cost him the base. Transfusions going off on the Queens. Lings, Banes running down this ramp. The Muta's overhead. Just going to see these few extra Lings continue to drop. The Baneling trying to connect in. And Sola will clean this up. All of our Marines going down there in the end, and now Cure going to bring these Medevacs back overhead and healing up a few more Marines. Cure will be out over to this left-hand side, and 2-2 upgrades building on the engineering bays. Marines and Medevacs still in production. Cure just out down in the low ground of this ramp. A scan comes in, a couple of creep teams being picked off. Banelings already being denied. Getting in on top of this, very nearly finding the hatchery. Not quite finding it in the end. We'll just get there now. The hatchery goes down. A couple of Queens to this left-hand side. First one picked off, make that a second. And now some Lingbane wanting to move through once again, but the tank's in position. We'll keep that Lingbane at bay. Well, Solo's had to go back to the right-hand side, which is now going to be his fourth base, but that's still a building, so it's already been a very good start here from Cure. Solo's taking some bad fights trying to defend this. And obviously trying, you know, taking some bad fights trying to defend this is never going to be pretty. And there's Marines and tanks coming back up to the top side. Going to be seeing that command center dropping in the fourth base location. The Mutalisks wanted to come through the front there, and some damage on these depots. Marines coming through. Adrenaline Claws just continuing to build up, and Mutas flying in toward the natural, but Marines very quick there to push the Mutas back. Just going to be seeing our Hive building in the main base, so yeah, Hive on the way up, of course. The +1 flyer attack going to be done soon. The Overlord speed still on the natural expansion. And a lot of Mutalisks from Solar will come flying up the left into the northern side of the map as Kyo has a couple missile turrets out here. Drone Claw's not far from finishing. 2-2 upgrades about to complete. Cluster of shells coming in. All of these upgrades to make this next push even more powerful when he was already in a strong position. Now, the Muta's counterattacking is the sort of thing that might just slow Kyo down enough to give Solar some chances, give him more time to build up, get more blings and banes on the map. But Kyo just says, no, I'm not going to fall for your tricks. I know what these Mutas want to do. I mean, in fairness, the Mutas only cancelled the base and then backed away. They didn't go diving in anywhere else. As Kyo gets straight onto the creep spread, of course, the creep for a little while here at least can buy some time. These Banelings roll in on their own, not sure what Solar was hoping to achieve there. Okay, maybe something like that. Those Banelings were actually pretty successful, crashing into the few Marines. Kyo still has a few Marines and a medevac out on the far left side. An army pressing forward and just seeing Kyo waiting about to see what's next. Marines will get another Ling out to the left and you just see this drop. We'll bring the Lings in. The Mutas want to be a little careful clumping up so it's hard to target fire with the Marines. He's going to get this medevac pretty quickly, so the Mutas will just win out this fight. No issue there. Kyo, though, I mean, this is the thing. A, he's in position, and B, he's got a bank to rebuild when this fight happens. So not only does Solar have to win this fight to push it back while attacking into a pre-set up Terran, he also has to win this fight efficiently. Otherwise, he is not going to win in the rebuild. And still moving up. The Mutas on the counter-attack as well. But this base, very well defended. Siege tank there with the planetary is very hard to break. And the thing is, Solar isn't rich enough to go running Banelings at these bases to try and shut them down. If he was rich enough to do that, well, it'd be a very different game, because then you really are starting to slow down some of the Terran economy in amongst all of this. But, yeah, obviously that is not really happening just yet, as a few more Mutas in the center. This command center of Kyo will move out to the 12 o'clock as well, so that will be finished in a few moments. Plus 3 melee, Chitinous plating. All underway with another Ultra about to pop out. I mean, I guess that's something worth mentioning, right? Ultra's about to pop out. So there's some sort of, tier 3 tech on the table now from Solar to maybe help him in these fights. I mean, the Ultras are going to struggle to catch up. They don't even have Chitinous, never mind Anabolic Synthesis to try and fight off creep. Oh my goodness, there's so much bio that just arrived here as reinforcements, but it is just bio. There's no splash damage in this, so Solar's going to keep on crashing through, and Solar is going to find a cleanup. There is just nothing there to support that bio. Not even no Widow Mines or, tanks. There was no medevacs there. This Thor will go down as Solar finds an opportunity, and suddenly Solar is feeling pretty good about this, I reckon. Ultralisk squeezes through the gap. The Mutalisks still overhead as Marines and Marauders continue through. A couple Changelings go down. I mean, that really was something as the 3-3 continues along. A few more Widow Mines in production here. Anabolic Synthesis still on the Ultra Cavern, continuing to come up. As our Creep Tumors will go out through the bottom side of this, and our Mutalisks wanting to dive in on top of that base perhaps. Still seeing some Lingbane Ultra over on the left-hand side. Mutalisks back out down the bottom as you see 7 Corruptors in production, then plus 2 Flyer attack on the Spire as well. Just seeing our army continuing over to the left as we still have a lot of Lingbane Ultra up on this high ground. Widow Mines wanting to come forward just a little bit further here, and they are going to start burrowing up. Widow Mines going off. The Ultralisk gets cleaned out as well. Now, a lot of these Marauders taking the charge at the moment as the Banes continue to back off. Re-engaging back into this. These Zerglings going to come launching in. A lot more bio still on that left-hand side. Lings, Ultras, a Baneling in the middle of this as well. Just going to be seeing the Ultras still coming through. And here you go. Our Lings are going to run in. Well, Widow Mine's going off. Ultras from the right side, and I think Solar's got another cleanup here. Now, Kyo still has tons of money in the bank. He is way better off economically than Solar in this series and this first map. But Solar keeps winning the fights, and that means that Solar is now getting bases online and putting himself in chances to maybe start denying some Terran bases. This is a great counterattack, though. On the bottom side of the map, Solar's completely focused on defending the top and then counterattacking the top. Now he might lose... honestly, at the start of this, I thought he might lose both these bases. He's actually going to defend both of them, if only just. But still a nice move from Kyo, because it stops Solar from going and continuing in towards these bases and really committing to denying economy. Instead, Solar has to come back and defend his own economy, which is a much worse position to be in. Wings and Bane's still rolling forward. The couple of Widowmine shots going off. Mutalisk taking some more damage there. Flying through the Corruptors and Mutas. So deal a little bit more. Widowmine shots going off as well. He does kill this right side base in the meantime during the rest of this fight that we were watching. So that base goes down. Command center blown up as another command center from Kyo makes its way to the top left. That will be landing very soon here as well. And a sizable army of Kyo realistically about to strike this bottom right base of Solar. So this base will take a bit more damage here. The few Marines are going in after it. The hatchery will go down. A little bit more bio still pressing through. A couple more creep tumors being picked off. And of course, here come the rest of the Zerglings still coming into this. The Ultras, the Banes, etc. continue to come in. Just going to see a few of these Marauders continuing to go off on the Ultras now. Top left side, base gets cancelled. A few SDVs pulling back. A couple more creep tumors being picked away at, and just going to be seeing Widowmines lining up. Hits a Ling, hits an Ultra. Overseer overhead, and still having the rest of these Ultras wanting to press through. Going to find themselves on top of a Widowmine right away. The Widowmine goes off and the Ultras take some damage. Another command center here will drop down from Cure. There's the Ultras and the Banes and the Lings pulling back over the bottom side. Still just seeing the rest of the Ultras down the left. And well, now we've got 7 Broodlords starting to morph in. Corruptor in production. The bio will just get through, gets on top of the Ultra. It goes down pretty much immediately. Gets split back. All of these Banelings still on the way into this here. We've got our army moving back and forth. Kira's on the left side as well. Solar might not be able to keep this base alive. He just gives it up. Immediately, the Widowmine picks off 10 drones right away. It's obviously pretty huge here, as we do have the bio still joining up over on the left. We'll just continue through. Running up that left-hand side. The bio has to continue backing away from this here, of course. Has to just keep on running and running and running. Bling's coming through. Bit more bio unloading. The Broodling's coming up. Dropping down a few SCVs, taking some hits, of course, as we do see the Lings trying to get on top of those Marauders. It's a cleanup in the end. Obviously, it's a base for a base once again. You're keeping this at 5 bases each. Typically, that's not enough for the Zerg player, because the Zerg player is going to be trading way worse than the Terran. It's only a 4k difference. It's not been that bad this game. I think Solar had to have some good fights to have stayed in this earlier, of course. Man, these hatches are so low. And Solar is going back across the map. Right now, the Broodlords are kind of saving him. It's not usually the unit you see doing super well in TvZ lately, but this surprise factor of the Broodlords is catching Cure in a position where he's not ready for them. And because of this weird way this game is played out, he's also not just not ready for them, he can't actually really afford to respond to them. So these Broods are doing pretty crazy. Dropping down all over the place, these Broodlings. I mean, this forward base is going to go down. No gas left on this base as well, by the way. We are 20 minutes into this game. Solar, obviously the disadvantage of Broodlords, very slow, very immobile. So already losing the base bottom side, gets cancelled on the left. So Kira's already rebuilt. Oh my god, no! These Banelings, they should have done so much. They still will do so much. They blow up all the Marines. Oh, it still feels like there's maybe even more to be done there. As the Broods keep pressing in, does Solar have enough on the ground to clean up some of these bio armies? I mean, they're scrappy and small enough where the Ultralisks might just be able to get enough done. And that's obviously huge, as the Broodlords, though, going to get stimmed underneath. Oh no, he loses a few of them already. He just can't keep them alive. Medevac's trying to heal up this army, will do enough, and Q is able to make it scrappy and crazy enough to win this out. Takes the Broodlords down with not a single Viking in the sky. I think there might have been a couple, actually, but... yeah, GG's, and Q takes game 1. I know, it's kind of crazy to hear, isn't it? As we get into game number 2. Oh, and this is a lot of SCVs moving across the map. On the bottom right-hand side, our red Terran player from Dragon Phoenix Gaming is Q. Up against the blue Zerg in the top left-hand side from Triumphant Song Gaming, it is Solar. So he's going to proxy T-Rex on this left-hand side. Solar is going to scout, but how far? Ah, he's going to see it. Wow. This is such a quick drone scout as well, right? You come straight down the left side. You're going to see this SCV right away. You can start to nibble, and you can start to look for the denial, and you can pull 2 more drones from the start. The SCV's already been very annoying, though. You would really like to delay at least one of these barracks. He's actually going to use this SCV to fight for a little bit. Yeah, the 2 extra drones obviously showing up. He's actually putting some repairs down. He will actually kill one SCV. This SCV, it all depends on if this SCV goes to the other side. Okay, Rax number 1 will finish, of course. Rax number 2 is not looking so hot right now, and that's going to cancel. He's just building 1 Marine. I'm not sure what you're really going to do with 1 Marine here. But I guess we'll we'll see. Maybe he's wanted to try and fake that there's like another Rax behind it or something. I'm not really too sure because I really feel, I mean, he is going to keep these few drones busy. Yeah, it's... I mean, the drones just chase it down. I mean, if you commit this drone for the Marine kill, then I guess fair enough. And you can probably save it as well, even if this Marine pops out. It's going to be a Reaper as a follow-up, so Reaper comes through and Extractor will be placed. So he can save the drone anyways. Queen's not out just yet, so this Reaper will actually hit pretty early, and things will have to be good on the micro to keep themselves alive against this without the Queen here. But so far, so good. As you do see the Reaper coming back in, and there is the Queen coming out, and that is going to be the Reaper. Yeah, it just doesn't quite go down yet as it comes around the left side. And a hatchery on the 3rd base will finish, or will start up, in fact. So that 3rd hatch underway. As we get that underway, as we get that going. Hey, the Big Dirty, as we have a moment or two, drops the $5 donation, says, thanks for being a part of my wake-up routine every day. Enjoy the time off. Well, thank you so much for the $5. Yeah, I'm just taking a day off because TSL is obviously on Sundays. It doesn't make sense for me to run a tournament over TSL, so I'll be taking Sunday off. On Monday, we might do the mega stream. We might do the triple. The Korean, European, and the American ESL Cups. I don't actually know what time the American one starts, but I think we'll try and do a good amount of them. We'll at least be doing Korea and Europe. I am 90% sure about that. As the Reaper Grenade drops down, the drones get bopped. The Smoke Roller will begin to build. Just saving himself from the Reaper Grenades and shots. A couple Hellions on the way up. Obviously, kind of a weird setup then from Kyo because he proxies a Rax that doesn't really do much. And, you know, all of that and this and that. Definitely isn't the prettiest scenario. Solar. We'll take a bit more damage on this Overlord, so a few more shots being taken here. We still have a Reaper up on the top side. Starport moves over up to the top a little bit. Going to start up a medevac already, so medevac will begin. This Reaper coming through the front as well. And the Rotron on the lair building. Armoring and concussive shells. I mean, he was kind of behind, so I think he's just sort of saying, well, my best chance here is just to be super aggressive. As aggressive as possible, basically. Group Tumor on the side gets picked off already. Reaper and the Hellions able to take that down. They're about to finish up from solo. A couple of spores still coming into play. And the armory finishing now, so you can morph in those Hellbats across the map. Medevac is here to lift up. He's waiting for more order number 2, of course, so that will be what he lifts across the map. As at the moment, Solar, well, seems like he's going to have a good time because he's actually building a Roach Roaring, and he's already getting Roaches up. So Roaches maybe not the best against the Marauders, but just having Roaches in general against something like this is always generally a big positive. Jimmy comes down the ramp, a few Queens hanging out, and there's the Hellbats morphing in. Marine drops down, a couple of Marauders drop down. Two Marauders and a Reaper up to the top side. And there's going to be a scan as a few of these creep tumors will be picked away at, so those go down pretty quickly. Lings run through and toward the natural. Going to see a few SCVs getting caught right from the start. So a few SCVs go down. Ling's going to go surround elsewhere. Another SCV picked off right away there too. And a couple more Lings coming in. SCVs taking a bunch of damage. Ling showing up and a couple of Lings drones all being picked away at. And the Marauders come back over. So I mean, Kira never really committed to this attack, but now he's lost 10 SCVs. And he didn't really commit to an attack which he invested into. Now he's got Roaches running at his third base as well. I'm not sure if these Roaches necessarily end the game. The Lings that support them might. Just because obviously the couple of Marauders will actually help more than you'd usually have here, I guess, against Roaches. But yeah, you can see the Lings. It's kind of a weird one because the Lings don't want to fight while the Hellions are here. And obviously the Hellions in an okay shot for the moment. There's some SCVs pulling into this too, trying to take the Roach attention away from the units. And Kua, good micro to stay alive, but he's staying alive in a position which is generally looking pretty bad for him overall. As he comes through, he gets rid of one Roach, gets rid of two. A few Zerglings on the side will continue to go down. There's another Roach here that will be picked off in a moment, so that Roach also falls. And Kyo will come out to the top of the map where he can maybe try and hunt down this Overlord to begin with. As he comes through, he's gonna actually just find himself a Roach or two. Has Kyo got some potential here? May just go flying into the main base. These meters are gonna come in straight away. A few SCVs being picked off. Marines get taken down as well. This siege tank also going to be taken down. More SCVs in some trouble. A lot of SCVs in trouble, in fact, as we see a couple more Marines picked off too. Yeah, okay, well, for a moment it was kind of like, well, Kia's army across the map kind of looked scary, but yeah, now the Mutalists show up and they're going to kill every single SCV. We'll just come back in. These Marines will continue to go down. Yeah, the Mutalists just winning the game, obviously. I mean, Solar's had a lot of things that have gone very right for him in this game. The scout of the proxy racks right at the start. And, yeah, these Mutas trying to back away off to the side. A couple of Marines showing up. 4 shots. Pushing the Mutalists back as well. And there's a couple of Vikings into the middle. Ravagers and a Roach still building. Plus more missiles and Carapace also coming through. Yeah, Solar's obviously just in a very, very good position, everybody. And just kind of waiting for that to play out then. Our Bio army still on the front, and Roach and a Ravager will press forward as well. 1-1 upgrades on the way in. 12 more Roaches showing up. The Ravager on the way. Thor's actually maybe going to get quite a few Mutalist kills. Gets 1. He was just not quite clumped up enough at the end. Well, Solar's just looking for a 1-1 Roach timing. Against a single siege tank. No bunkers. Kyo's already down 20 SCVs, so you can't really afford to pull SCVs in to help defend this like you usually would. There's a lot of reasons this isn't really going to work out for Kyo on the defense. The Solar shows up, corrosive fouls, and the first siege tank goes down. And now you're actually fighting up a ramp to get back to your natural here. Well, actually, Solar's just going to fight down the ramp to get to the low ground. Now, second series of the day. Also going to go to a game 3. We're going to get that set up and start. Third and final map here between Solar and Cure. As in the bottom left-hand side, we do have the blue Zerg from Triumphant Song Gaming. This is Solar. On the top right, our red Terran is Cure. Game 3 of our series, this TvZ that has gone the distance. Getting some good matches in today, guys. The European group's meant to start in 3.5 hours, and I'm hoping we have a little bit of time in between games, just so I can get some food. But apparently, at this rate, we might just not. These guys are playing some. These guys are playing some pretty exciting games. Let's just put it that way. It's been pretty fun here so far. It's actually been very fun here so far. Some good stuff, and been exciting to see how they play out. Even that second game, Cure really trying a few things to get myself back in it off the failed proxy. So that was, you know, again, it turned out to be fun, right? It turned out to be one of those scenarios where it's like, okay, well, this is one of those situations where this is not really quite meant to work, but it ends up working in the end anyways. Meal drops down on this main. You have the couple of queens on the way out, the few zerglings building here across the setup of game 3. Just a very simple start. A start which is not really, well, not really surprising just yet, I guess, right? It's just kind of as expected, kind of as we expect this to be. And Logic Soldier going to drop the 1,000 bits, saying awesome games this morning with an awesome caster. Thank you so much, Logic Soldier, for the 1,000 bits. Give us some love in the chat. We're back up into the center here. I'm going to be seeing the link speed continuing through. And of course, the Reaper out around the bottom side is going to make its way up into the main, and we'll be through there now. Link speed still building. A drone going to get popped up in the sky. Reaper just pushed away over the side, so Reaper off over to the side there. And just seeing the couple more Hellions out from the front and heading across the map, so very standard startup. Full queens at the front. The Hellion already taking some damage as the Hellions get through to deal a little bit. A couple of drones will go down. The Reaper here is gonna take a few more shots as well. Ling's around the right side, and they're actually able to cut that Reaper off, so they stop it from getting away. 4 drones killed. It's adding up to be a little bit of damage. All said and done. As the Queen's still coming up, and gonna be having ourselves a couple of Hellions still trying to fight. Crypt Jimmer gets taken down in the lair on the way from Solar in the main base. As you can see, the supply depots still building across the board, getting that wall off up as well, of course. As expected for the moment. Lions really dive in here, and they're not really going to find a way out either, so fortunately for Cure, it's the end of his Hellions in this game. Now, the first Banshee coming into the main, there is Spore Crawlers ready, but of course, a lot of this still depends on, you know, getting the Queens in the right place to then still push back the Banshee. And the Banshee pushed back for the moment. Lings and Queens joining up together, just in case there's anything else coming. But of course, at this point, the Hellions are pretty much all used up, and we're already swapping into the bio, so there won't be a lot really on the ground for the next little while, as engineering bays continue to build in the back of this main base here. So Kyo is going to go into his own upgrades. Now, Solo was on a pretty fast lair. And with that faster lair, he's able to get the Spires started, so he'll go into faster Mutalisks. This does mean his evolution chambers are going to be later. So he's really relying on, Mutalisks and a faster Baneling speed to be able to... Essentially, he's relying on that to essentially be able to win out here, rather than the upgrades. So he's hoping that will maybe carry him through against these upgrades as well, which is also another thing to keep in mind, right? Like, if you're playing against upgrades, you need something that will help you instead. And yeah, typically that Bane speed in the Mutas can slow the Terran down, stop them from pushing at times. Just add to the fight in different ways. These Banshees obviously getting 5 workers is very nice. They've been able to do a good amount here already and keeping the Queens back. Of course, they won't survive much longer, as we do have our few Mutalisks on the way out. So their first port of call should be to come across and take those Banshees down. The Medivacs loading up. We'll see the orbital command on the right-hand side. A few supply depots from Kira coming into the front as well. Some more Zerglings building, Baneling speed on the Bane nest, and the 2 Medivacs will come all the way up to the top left here. Let's see now Medivacs back around into the center. Couple meters, some Banes on the way. Baneling speed about halfway done. 1-1 melee upgrades just now starting on the evolution chambers, as we do see Mutalisks trying to be aggressive on the upper right side. Not finding much just yet, as Marines are able to keep those meters at bay. Will come in. They might actually get themselves, combat shields, but you can actually repair the combat shields. But if you repair the combat shields, you lose SCVs. Combat shields will end up being denied as Kyo continues out to the left. And we'll look for maybe a snipe down on the 4th. So a few Marines already stimming through to try and get that base. The Overlord here. I mean, a couple of tanks. The Mutalisks aren't in position to really help out against those tanks, so all the Marines can really focus on the hatchery already. Mutas are on their way back. Is it in time? The transfusion is to buy some extra time. There's one more transfuse available. Doesn't get it. Solar loses the 4th base. And those Mutas just needed to be back home a little bit earlier here so you could really make a move in to get this. Has Kua realized that he's not got combat shields? I mean, I think he must, but he needs to remember to then restart it. He probably knows he doesn't have it. But actually then making the play to, restart it is something you've got to remember here as well. That's not currently happening. It's from the left and the right. Minimize that tank splash damage as Kua will get cleaned up. This fight happening without the 1-1, but Solo can't wait much longer. That said, I mean, he started the base on the bottom side, so I guess he wasn't super eager to take that position back. And it works out. He still pushes it back. Just wonder if he could have waited like 20 more seconds for 1-1, because it wasn't like that army was really doing anything. The biggest fear there is that that army either gets reinforced, or if that army doesn't get reinforced, then you kind of play on the... Then on the other side of it, if you don't get that reinforcing army, then maybe you actually end up with an army on the bottom side already, and you're still trying to deal with the army on the top when your bottom base gets under attack from the next 2 drops. So I think he was just a bit afraid of where, of Kua's next set of units and where they were going to be, and them just making his life more difficult, as he did finally Kua remember combat shields. So well on the way toward that now as 2-2 comes through. Marines will go back into the main. Lots of lings up on the top. As the infestation pit about halfway done on the main base as well. Plenty of Marines, some Medivacs on the right side. All of this coming down. And, well, looking to the base, I'd imagine. A couple creep teamers already being cleaned out. Obviously, this is the next push. They attempt to get towards the 4th base, the new location. Marine's going to turn and fight, and the Lingbane gets turned away pretty swiftly. On the top side, the Mutalisks show up, and they're able to snipe down the tech lab on the factory. Kind of interesting, it was still tech lab, and he is still building tanks. I mean, a tech lab and building more Thors makes sense, but to build another siege tank, I mean, it kind of feels like drilling claws and widow mines are on the way. Especially when you see this factory here as a reactor on it, right? So, yeah, feels as though Kira is able, even maybe a little bit kind of caught up in himself, trying to figure out just what he's trying to do at the moment. Marines and SCVs all joining up together. Three on the way as well from our Terran. Of course, upgrades are something that Kira's never really skipped a beat on. While on the other side, Sol obviously gave up upgrades early in the game to set up into, you know, different strengths, basically. His strong point is these Mutas are going to fly into these Marines. Solar, hello? Oh my god. That was not how it was meant to go. Let me just tell you that. There's our Marines tanks still pressing forward. I can't believe these Mutas just flew into those Marines. I don't even know what to say about that. It feels like this is not how this is meant to go at all. I was just properly shocked. Lings and Bane's going to run in now, and I mean, this is just not going to be pretty. At least his 2-2 against 2-2. The 3-3 obviously still quite a ways from finishing, but Solar is just going to be crashing into, well, a Marine force that was just kiting backwards and continuing to split. Then the Marines actually took a step forward and made their own lives a little bit more dangerous and a little bit more difficult. Those Lings and Mutas wanting to continue to dive in there. There's a planetary fortress on this side. As the sensor tower gets picked off, the Marines still coming through and the Overseer continuing to go running. A few more Banelings from Solo on the south side. We're just going to be seeing our Lings, Mutas all joining up together here. Drilling claws, building on the factory, and just seeing the rest of the bio still pressing through. A few changelings killed off pretty much right away. And there's a chunk of drones going to the top left-hand side. Middleisks will go for a dive into the main, and we'll actually find drilling claws. You know, I mentioned widow mines a little while ago, and it really feels as though Q is set up to play into widow mines and then still kind of delayed them for a very long time. I think that's coming into effect a little bit right about now. As you see a drop on the top left-hand side, QO looking for this base kill. I'm going to try and take that down. Actually taking some damage. The Middleisks are wanting to find a way in. The Marines over to the right will snipe down nearly one of them. Of course, nice for Sol to have rebuilt that Middleisk count after he flew them all into the Marines earlier. That was a sad few moments as a queen. Taken down. The rest of this army is still pushing through, and well, the Bane's wanting to come into this. Bio all still pressing forward, and we'll see a couple of Banes picked off now. The rest of this Bio splitting back. Overseers coming in overhead. Widow Mines going off on a bunch of these Overseers as well. So many Lings just streaming through. There's so much Bio though, and it just feels like there's no cleanup here at the moment in sight for Solar. And he gets a couple of Ultras out, but they're fighting without kindness because he's so desperate to get this pushed back and cleaned up. So trying his best to make that work here. As the Ultras come through, the Marines back away. Just going to be seeing the Drilling Claws still building from Cure at the moment. They're out on the bottom side as the Ultras and the Lings still pushing through. The couple of Banes coming in as well. Thor gets picked off. Marines still being chased. I mean, I guess it is just Marines against these Ultras, and that's not the best case scenario. So Solar is kind of in a position where he's surviving, but not very well, I guess. Bio on the bottom side pushing through also. On the top, a little bit of Bio also in play. More Lings up to the top side, and Banes, Corruptors, all in production. Obviously, Kira's trying to establish this base number 5, and that's the point at which Solar, who's already trading not so great, is going to fall into some issue. He's building some Corruptors, I guess, to help with the medevacs. Yeah, I guess he wants to try and help out with some of these medevacs here as the bio coming through. Snipes down a creep tumor of this Ling Bane. Continuing forwards. Ling's getting a wrap around. A couple of Marines already shot down there. The bio still having to kite backwards. One Bane already gets picked off. We'll get the Overlord up overhead there. I was just going to see this hatchery taking a bit more damage. Bane's still rolling forwards, and seeing the Bane's crashing through as well. Planetary Fortress here will help to defend as well, as Kira takes a step back. Drops in supply, but again, Kira is the one who's consistently able to find the money to rebuild here, apparently. The bio coming out. A few of these creep tumors at the front will go down right from the start. 12 more Lings, 11 more Banelings, all in production. I'm just seeing the bio here picking away at a couple more drones. The Lings, well, one of mine will try and burrow the Banelings, able to blow that up. A couple drones going down, and the bio continuing to kite backwards. Ultralisk still showing up. One Ultra goes down, another Ultra just survives. He's going to go for the Planetary. If the Caustic Spray, he might just about get it. Drops a Parasitic Bomb on the medevac here, and kind of surprised the Corruptors didn't take a moment to turn around and fight. Kira's supply is actually way down. 160 against 200. So that ain't looking pretty at all as these Lings continue across the bio. Wanting to try and move back up this ramp. Couple Marauders being caught there. On the bottom side, Kira has a chunk of units as well. All of a sudden, Solo took a couple good fights back to back, and he's kept himself in this. He's been able to keep some bases alive while denying some economy of Kira. Kira now trying to take an orbital command on this base, of course, is less than ideal. And Rain Ultra all continuing down the bottom right as we have some Banes trying to come in from the back side of this, and they will crash in towards a few of those Marines. Corruptors wanted to come across there and chase those medevacs down as the Lings is going to go in after all of these SCVs. I'm just going to be seeing Kira out up to the top. Another command center dropping down. Wouldn't mind. Going to get a few Zerglings. The bio still coming over. Drones. 5 workers dropping there. Again, a lot of this army from Solar still moving through the middle and looking for a fight. Widowmines doesn't really find a way to target too much there. The Ultra's continuing forward, and there's a couple of Widowmines that are going to help massively, but Kira's supply is still really lacking. He never really made it off the bio mine comp, right? He never really made it to an army that was really going to be able to, with ghosts and everything, really take kind of a longer fight. And Solar is going to get a much needed win in this group. Hey, this is actually crazy because Solar winning this puts him at the same score as Kira going into the final matches. That's obviously very, very crazy and very, very important because now these players could potentially... I mean, this puts so much pressure on Kira versus Sue and then Solar versus TY. Wow, this actually makes this group extremely exciting. And a game that looked as though Solar was going to die, and he survives, he wins out, and he keeps his Spring Championship hopes alive.